because sometimes we've been doing this for 15 years, and we've been organizing in this space for 12 almost. And that's like that. It's up and down. And the thing is that we always trek forward, because every activity that we do makes us that much stronger, even though it's 2 of us or 100 of us. You know, and we've done a lot of events where it's a mixed number. And so to us, we feel that it was great that we were able to bring this many people together, you know, to have 15 people here at our peak and support the work of the cafe. That's pretty good. We think that's pretty good, so we want to thank you for taking your time and being here. So I'm going to present our compañera who's part of the tour, presenting the film, and then maybe we could do a whole question and answer session. Would you like to start off by asking questions, or does anybody have a comment? You know?
Yeah. I think it's pretty better if you have a comment or you want to know something about what you have seen. If you're still in shock or
Well, you know, in the English language media, we don't hear very much about the situation in Mexico besides, you know, the narco trafficking and the different battles and all of that. And it's been, you know, 5 years since the events in like Oaxaca and Atenco, etc. And so we haven't heard much about the social movements there. So maybe is there an update as far as La Otra Campaña goes? And I mean, that was a great film also, I just want to say, because I feel like it could have, with the footage that you probably collected, it could have been a 10-hour film easily. And that was just, it seemed like a small glimpse into like the social movements and the you know, fermenting of like the oppressed and dispossessed people in Mexico. So just wondering if there are any updates as far as the state of the movement now, of the different movements.
Okay, it should take more than a day, that for sure. But about the other campaign on the net, it's still going on. It's still working together. It has, as everything else, the time that is very up, and its time that is not that much. I think it's something to be, it's something human, right? But it's still going on, and everybody tries to be in the struggle of the other. There are some times when it's a huge thing happening somewhere. Those are the moments you can see more how do you say that, more strong. Yeah. The feeling to be together. The thing is to be solidarity. I mean that's the goal of all this thing, and work together. Because there are plenty of movements in Mexico and in all over Latin America, but it's so common thing that everybody has their own struggles in their spaces, and it's not bad. It's so necessary to have your own struggle in your place, because this is the only place you can. This is the only thing you can change. The rest of the things are just theories and things, and they are necessary, but they didn't change nothing. You need to work in your own place. This thing, this other campaign, this net, is so important because it's still having in the code, could be, or something like this. It's still a thing that is, it thinks that it's necessary to be communicate, to have supporting, to have, how do you say it? Como que se soporten mutuamente, como que se ayuden mutuamente.
Mutual support.
Okay, that's it. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, no, it's important always to keep those lines of communication open, I think, between like the different, and find those ways that the different struggles intersect, and that they're able to carry each other forward. I understood. It was good.
And this net is still working. I mean, they still have communications. They have, most of them is on the internet. This is when the Zapatistas appeared in 1994. One of the most important things they've done was one of the basic struggle was on the internet. I mean, they have plenty of things going on the land, on their places, But it was so important to the and different than the rest of the movements because they started to use the huge thing that is the net, and it's so important because right now it's the only way you can keep in touch. You can keep really update in the things that are going on. So they just, I don't know how to say that, como que exprimieron esa idea, digamos, de poder utilizar la red para su lucha, para lo propio, ¿no? No solo para jugar y lo que sea, ¿no? Para lo que se usa.
Yeah, so you know that the Zapatista movement that came off in '94 was able to capture and utilize the media, particularly the social media, especially the internet, to not for social, just to socialize, but to actually promote the movement. You know, it became a tool. Any comentarios, questions?
How long did it take you to, how long was it from beginning to end? How long did it take?
The movie? It took 4 years. It started with the other campaign, following the tour, the travel. And then there have been 3 more years to do because it was 450 hours of film. So it takes too much time to make something, I mean, according to the thing they want to do. So the director of the documentary, what he done, is to make short films, to start it, how do you say that in Spanish? Like editing the material. So he started to do those things, and after that, they just do the rest of the thing. I mean, it took a lot of time, and when it was finished, most of the people who work, you have seen a long list at the end of the movie, because all the people who work on that do it for free. Did it for free. I mean, most of them, the post production in audio and the post production in screening and the rest of the things are made by professional people who work usually for big companies or whatever it is in Mexico, and they just saw the movie and they were so in common with those things, and they decided to do it in their free time for free. So that's why that's one of the other points, that it takes too much time, because everything was tried to be professional. The music is original, I don't know, all the rest of the things. So that's why it took too much time, because when you haven't got the money to do it, I mean, you have to do it like this. And this is part of the way we are doing the tour too. We have the DVD, you cannot show these kind of films on the TV or on, it has been shown in some festivals in Europe and other countries, other places, but it's not you're not going to reach too much people, even if you go to all over the festivals around the world. I mean, that's why we decided to do all those kind of tours. Last year we've been doing one in Mexico for 3 months. No, for 6 months, I think. Oh, wait, I can't remember. But last year. And at the beginning of this year, with the director of the documentary went to Europe, and they've done their tour around 3 months and in 10 countries. And this is pretty much what we are doing here. We are traveling, showing the movie, because it's the only way we can do it. If not, and we think it's important, because there were too many people working there, and too many people hosting during the films, and I don't know, being part of this. So I mean, everybody deserves to be, I don't know, part of this. So we think it's the only way we can show it. I don't know if I am so clear. I'm so sorry.
No, thank you.
I know a lot of people that would want to see this film, or that if they knew how good it was, how, like, you know, how detailed and how how intimately it shows the movements in Mexico. They would want to be here. So like, is there any way for us to get a copy, like digital or DVD or anything like that? Like, just because I want to show, you know, a lot of my comrades that film, just because it was really good.
That's pretty much what we like to do. I mean, that's one of the goals. I mean, to do these tours to, I mean, you see it and you want to share it with your family, with your friends. Or, I mean, it happens all the time. It happened to me when because I wasn't part of this, of the film and just part of the tour. I was involved with I mean, I've lived in Chiapas for 3 years and I was involved in this kind of thing since I was, I don't know, a teenager. So, but that was the sensation the first time that was the feeling, sorry, the first time I saw it. Yeah, part of the tour is paid by selling the DVD. That's the way we are. I don't know, pay for the travel or pay for the food or pay for whatever it is, and I don't know. And we receive too much solidarity, so it's part of the thing. I have some copies here. It's $15, $15 a copy. So if one of you want one, you can talk to me, and I think I'm going to leave some of those there too, just in case other people is interested in, and I have to go on the tour, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay here. But I can leave some copies too.
Sounds cool.
And we have plenty of time, you know. What other comments or questions?
Do you have a website?
Yeah. That's not the black one. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the website of the produce house. It's www.terranostrafilms.com, and there is a site of the movie, and it's www.vivamexicofilm.com. In the website of the producer house, you're going to find the rest of those short films and more details on things you want to know, and there is a contact email just in case you want to say something or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's a lot to say. I was just throwing it out there to see, you know, to see if you wanted to add anything, because I know our organization, you know, we're very involved in the initial stages from when the Zapatitos came out to now, and a lot of us here have been involved, you know. So I really thought that it was important to host the film, because like you said, sometimes it's those little moments going around every little city, talking to different people, and creating our own network, right? Like the Otra Campaña is doing, you know,
Yeah.
just uniting people, space by space. And I know that today, simultaneously, this film was also being played in LA.
Yeah.
So, and then from here, the other compañera is going to come into town later this evening, and then they're leaving tomorrow to Fresno, and then you're up to the Bay, huh? Yeah. So they're traveling, and
Yeah.
that's what it takes. You know, we start realizing that, you know, you stay at people's homes versus, you know, paying $100 a night at a hotel. You know, because $100 a night at a hotel is 2-3 tickets to go on to the next city. You know, so I know a lot of, like you said, you received a lot of solidarity, people taking you in, giving resources. So that's really what it's about. All of us helping each other, and you guys will always have somewhere to come. And you tell anybody and that's going to come again, that if they ever come to this town, that there's plenty of people here that are willing to help and host and bring them here and let them stay here for, you know, a while, whatever it is they need. Because that's what that movement was about. You know, like when the people, I thought the part of the film that first I was trying to hold it back, but I started like laughing out of joy. But then I was all of a sudden pulled back into sadness, right? When we seen the news footage of all the cops running from the people, you know? And to me, I couldn't hold that feeling in because you're not used to seeing that. You're used to seeing the repression, you're used to seeing the cops coming down, and then you're seeing what happened after, you know, a day, 24, 48 hours later, they did come down. And what happened there in Atenco was brutal, you know. Those thousands of officers came in, breaking into people's homes, taking the women, there were rapes, there was beatings. So the cops went all out, you know, and there were federal officers too that were there. And so it was a human rights, like, just nightmare. It was really bad. And so, but then what happened? Instead of, then in the film, I was brought back up when what happened, you know, was the Zapatistas are just the Zapatistas. You know, they're just one movement, and they say that themselves. They try to be humble about it. And they said, you know what? We're supposed to go to these other cities in La Otra Campaña, because remember, they're in a tour, going to different, they canceled everything and said, you know what, right now, the most important thing is to help the people of Atenco. And that's when you said, that's when the whole thing about Todos Somos Atenco came out, right? And next you know, you've seen the marchas, and they were able to free the prisoners, you know? Not all of them, but like almost every single one of them was freed because of the pressure of the people. So it was like, it was a social movement of the masses. And that was the last lesson that the lady was saying, that you know, we have to be able to respond like that. If there's a shooting or a beating, we have to come out and denounce it and try to bring everybody out. And not just let it go quietly into the night, which is what they hope, right? They hope that we're quiet. And so I really liked the film. You know, that film showed me that. You know, it taught me that again, the importance of solidarity and action. Street mass action. That's very important. Which is what's happening right now, right? With the whole Occupy movement and things like that are happening. I was just throwing that out because anybody want to comment that caught that?
I think it just shows that sometimes, like, people just can't be held back. You know, the anger, the dissatisfaction comes from being dispossessed and lacking any kind of means of representation. It just kind of explodes. And I mean, you know, in the last few weeks we've seen this Occupy thing sprout up, and Americans are not, honestly, they're not dealing with the same level of pressure. Not all Americans, the ones that are saying save the middle class, save the American dream. But it's a different kind of pressure, and I don't know, do you have any observations as far as just the political culture here, like the culture of struggle as you might have seen it here, like during the tour?
Well,
in comparison maybe to Argentina or to Mexico?
I understand the question. I mean, I am with you, but I don't think I have a big background to do, I don't know, to make a good observation or a good, I don't know. That's what I think. I mean, I can tell you some few appreciations. Is the word? So I don't think it's good enough because of this. I just arrived here for, I don't know, September 29th, and I've been touring, and I've been in San Diego when they were preparing the Occupy there, and we were part of like a cultural center like this called Centro Cultural de la Raza. We were with those people there. I don't know, I have most of their point of view. And I've been in the Occupy only one day, only one afternoon, so I don't know. And the same thing in LA, I were there only one afternoon, and on one morning, and with some people working there. So what I saw, it's, I don't know, things are still too separate. I mean, it's, I have to be so honest. I've never been in America before, in this country before. So I have all my things on my head, and I really don't know the place, and I really don't know the people. I just know a lot of people who go from here to there. So I've seen, I don't know, plenty of Americans around the world, but not here in their own country. And not everybody travels. So it's so different to stay here and see the people and see their struggles and see their fears and their angers and whatever it is. And I still think that there is something that is not happening here, because because the conditions are not the same. So it's too complicated, even for the people who is being, and it's so obvious, who is being punished, or I don't know how to say it. Punish, it's a word.
Oppressed.
Yeah, that's it. So I think there's not too much humility, say humildad, in some of the people who are doing the Occupy thing. That's what I saw. I'm not saying that everybody is like this. I'm just saying that it's some people that I don't feel that they are hearing enough. That's the first thing that became in my mind. Because I think that here you have very big struggles and very big problems occurring since too much years ago. And I think you have to learn something. And I don't know, and not everybody is in the same level of learning. And not even though because I don't have to learn. I have to learn a lot of things. But that's why I know that I have to hear people. Because if not, we are not going to work each other. We are not going to work together. And we are not going to learn. We are not going to go to the place we said we want to go. I don't know if I really make sense, but I hope you understand. So I think it's a good starting. I hope that this struggle can be grow in the future. And I think it's too necessary that some people open their minds, open their ears, and be I don't know. I think it's the same thing for everybody, right? I mean, I have to be so open. I don't know. I just stop with much prejuicios. I don't know how to say it. ¿Cómo se dice?
Prejuicios is prejudice, you know.
But only in the time I came here. So everybody needs to stop with their own things on their mind. But I think that it's so important for some people to be patient, some people to be more open, some other to be, I don't know. I think that everybody of us, it's in different levels, and it's too difficult to work together. And I think that here, because of the conditions are so particular, it's going to be harder too. I mean, it's hard to, not harder. It's different. It's so different. In Argentina, it's so different. People have their own struggles there. But one thing is what's happening in the cities, and other things is what's happening in farms or whatever. It's so different. I mean, it's different. It's difficult. It's like this.
Right.
Another quick question is, your last 3 years in Chiapas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what experience have you had there that was like, whoa, you know, this is powerful? Or what have you learned, you know, from the way the communities are living there, what they're trying to do, how they're dealing with the economic problems? What can you tell us about that? Because most of us haven't traveled to Chiapas.
Well, it's too difficult to try to have a life separate of the state things. I think this is the biggest thing I learned. I mean, it's to keep yourself there and saying, I want to live like this. I want to decide what I eat, what I use, what I hear, what I want to be the one who, I mean, I with my community. When I speak in first person, I'm speaking for this, including first person. So I think that this is the biggest thing I learned, and to keep there. I mean, to want to stay, to defend your things, your family, your country, there are too much indigenous people and not indigenous people living there and having their own autonomous places, or trying to have their own autonomous places. Not all of them are Zapatistas, and you don't have to be. This is one thing that appears in the film too. I mean, you don't have to be Zapatista to have your own struggles. Be wherever you want to be, with your community, with the people you live with, and whatever it is. I mean, they try to have their own I mean, all of those autonomous communities, not only in Zapatista, have want to try to have their own try to have their own schools and their own hospitals and their own, I don't know, food, most of the things. They decide which struggles they're going to support. This is other thing, because it's a very complex scenario. I mean, you have the pressure of the government all the time over the communities. Not all. Sometimes this pressure is pressure. So what? Pressure. Some of this pressure is with militaries. Some of other in other moments they are with money, offering them some plans of government. I don't know, whatever it is. Sometimes they offer corns to do transgenic. How do you say something?
Yeah, harvest.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to deal with too much things. I mean, you have to be alert all the time, and I know this is so desgastante, tired.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, it takes its toll, ¿verdad?
Yeah. But they are still there. I mean, that's something that Marcos says in the documentary that for me is too powerful. Is that part when he said the people is still there because the land is still there. They are part of the land, and you cannot imagine. I mean, at least I cannot imagine this feeling, this belonging to something that they feel they belong to the earth. You're going to feel the same thing if you go to Bolivia. You're going to feel the same thing if you go to some part of Brazil. You're going to feel the same thing if all of those people who have lived for centuries in the same land, they actually feel they belong. They are part of it. They don't want to use. I mean, they don't want to be the owners of this land. They have this thing to clear, because they just live with the nature. No, not de la naturaleza. I don't know how to. Como que no viven de la naturaleza, sino que viven con la naturaleza. Es muy distinto.
Yeah, you know, they're not living from nature. They're living within nature. You know,
they don't want to master it. They just feel themselves to be a part of it.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think this is the I don't know, the thing we have to start thinking again. We are part of this. We are not. We have been set apart, and this is the worst thing that this system have. At least for me, this is the worst thing that this system have done with the cities and with most of us. We actually don't feel this, and it's not just a hippie thing. I mean, or if you want to be like this, I mean, I don't care. But the thing is that we are part of this system, this nature thing, this nature system, and if this not exist anymore, we are not going to exist anymore. I mean, the world, the earth, is going to be here, not we. I mean, plenty of the animal species have been disappeared. Why not us? Who? I mean, ¿quién nos creemos que somos? O sea, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
There's only one Earth, right? You know, because the destruction that's happening. You know, profit, the pollution, and that's happening everywhere in different ways. Like just even here, just to tell you so you can share it with the people. There's a piece of land right by the beach. That's like a sanctuary, right, for birds, and it's right by the beach. But what are they doing? They're trying to build. They already have power plant. They're building homes now. They're trying to make it industrial, and it's one of the it's called Ormond Beach, and there's over 250 different bird species. 250. And that land here and travel back and forth when they're migrating from the north to south. So because this wetland, it's called a wetland, is one of the few left in the whole continent. You know, I mean the whole coast of what is now the United States. There's not any left. This is one of the fewest, and it's one of the largest actually. But what are they doing? People that own it are trying to sell it so they could get more money for it. So there's a whole struggle happening, been happening for years, like I'm talking about decades. And less than a month ago, they voted to give part of it to residential. They're going to build like 2,000 homes. And it's not going to be for working people. They say that they're going to put affordable housing, this and that. They're going to bring in a fake lake, which is going to then destroy the real water there. And it's going to, in time, it's going to be destroyed. And the birds that land there are going to probably die or disappear or have to readjust because of the pattern they're used to going there. And it's not just about the birds, it's also about us.
Yeah.
Because the wetlands are part of like, that would stop like when there's floods. The wetlands are part of the barrier, if you will, that protects us, our communities. But people keep building around them. And so that's just one struggle, you know, about, you know, environment. And on top of that, they build all these power plants in the poorest neighborhoods, you know, and run their pipes through there. And so we have a struggle here too, you know, as far as that's concerned. And then one of the things that I want to say about that is the economic violence. In the movie, they talk about the economic violence. And I think that's important because we know that there's economic violence happening.
Yeah.
Through the programs, through defunding things. And so you know, it's one of those things that we're connected in that same struggle. You know, that's why we joined the Otra Campaña, because it was not popular. Because during that time, everybody was on the López Obrador train. Everybody, just like here, everybody was at one point on the Obama train. And what we were saying is okay, that's going to come and go and happen. We have to keep building and the social movements, because whoever is elected, you know, the pressure comes down from the bottom, you know, and that's what again, we keep referring back to these Occupy movements. That's kind of like one way that people are trying to bring attention to the issue.